Sometimes you just need to hear it's okay to not be okay.
You really do. That's the title of a new book by Rachel Murphy, and she's joining us in the studio this morning. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
This is an autobiography, and you wrote it in 3 weeks. People told you for years, write your story, write your story. What finally inspired you to sit down and get it out?
My sister passed away in March, and I was going to show a house, and I was in the car screaming and punching my steering wheel. I was like, I'm not okay. And then it was just like clean as day in my head. It was like, write your book. And when I went home and started writing, I couldn't stop. And it just came out very freely. I felt like there's a huge story to share, and I should share it.
I think there are going to be a lot of things that people are inspired by listening to you talk and listening to you share so openly and vulnerably. Will you talk about your story? You went through a lot from the time you were just a little girl.
Right. So I came from, my home was pretty abusive, and then all the way through childhood, and then about 12 years old, my sister and I were homeless. And so it was just her and me, and we had to work through quite a bit, to get through all of that. And then it kind of has carried through a lot of adulthood, and you don't think that it does, but it really does. And it shows up in your relationships when you least expect it. So it's nice to be able to look back at all of that, put it down on paper, and it helps you heal, through all of that.
Rachel, why the title? Have you always been, quote, okay? Like we all say,
No.
I'm fine, no, I'm fine. But it is okay to not be okay.
I shove things down, or I should say I used to. I was really good at just masking. I was in a therapy session once, and my therapist was like, Rachel, you just told me something really painful and you're laughing. But that was always my coping mechanism. I would just laugh it and pretend like it didn't bother me. And then it didn't bother me, right? Because now I had moved on to the next situation. But the reality is it still was there, and I just needed to really deal with it.
Well, I think that every time a woman or a person shares their truth and their story in the way that you are, other people go, oh, I don't have to pretend it's okay either. And I can say, me too, me too.
Right. That's
we
actually
all have our
what
stuff.
I hoped, was to inspire people.
And you say you can't see what anybody is going through, so we can't judge, and we should never put ourselves or others in a box. What do you mean by that?
Well, a couple months ago, I was in my apartment alone. Because everybody says, oh, you should be alone and you need all this time by yourself to heal. It's going to be so good for you. And I realized I don't want to be here alone. I don't like to be alone. And so I thought, why am I allowing other people to still tell me how to live? They're putting me in this box that works for them, and they don't say it to me to hurt me or anything like that. They say it to help me because it worked for them, right? And so
it's well-intentioned.
Yeah, it is. And I'm very extroverted, so I'm like, I thrive just on being around other humans, right? That's why I do real estate, because I'm like, I get to be around so many people all the time. So it's really good for me. So I was like, I don't know about this, so I started doing some things for speaking and made a pie chart exercise, right? Where we rate different things in your life on a scale of 1 to 5. Like, where am I with my health and fitness or my appearance, or how do I compare with my peers where I'm at with all of this? And so you look at it and go, wow, my life is really imbalanced. And then you rip it up, because we don't have to be so balanced. Like, who's to say my life's more balanced than somebody else's? We just get to write our own story. So.
You wrote this story to help you heal. And did it help you?
Definitely. Yeah, it was a really healing process. And I thought even at the end, if I never sell a copy, I don't care. I healed so much writing it.
But if you do sell a copy, what are you hoping that readers get from it?
I hope they can read it and just feel inspired that maybe even 1 or 2 things that I've had to go through and overcome, maybe they've gone through 1 or 2, or maybe they've had something separate, but it was something they had to overcome, that they can just feel inspired that they can do it too. And I've had people that have read the book that have reached out to me and said, like, oh my gosh, like, this did so much for me. The girl that does my eyelashes, she's like, Rachel, like, I read it and I couldn't put it down. I just cried the whole time. Like, our stories are so similar. And it's crazy how many people's are. It's insane.
And I love that you say men and women have read and responded. And you also have a lot to say about mindset, shifting your thoughts to, instead of I have to go through this, I get to go through this and take the lessons and take the pivot.
Right, right.
It's Okay to Not Be Okay is the name of the book, From Pain to Power, and all the information about where you get that. It is out now, is on your screen, and also on our website at abc4.com/GTU. Rachel, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me.
We'll be right back.